What is up, everyone? My name is James. I'm the owner of PaydirtDFS.com. I wanted to do a quick little video talking about using diversity scores and weighted ownership to look at single entry and three max lineups. It's going to be kind of a first of tutorials talking about how to use Portfolio Manager for things that are not MME oriented. I'm not going to talk too much about loading the portfolio today. I will have that in another video later, but I was asked this question today. So, Portfolio Manager is over on Paydirt and experimental in the Portfolio Manager here. So, I'm going to set up for Baseball Classic. I already have all these things, so I'm just going to load them. This is the salary file. This is the optimals file. Oops, I did that wrong. I need to put this for names. So this is the optimals file, and then this is the projections file. So after that all loads in, we will take a look at what we got here. So we got 3,600 lineups. I just wanted to show quickly kind of how I would go about looking for SE. So I'd said in my recent video, going over a little bit of my process, that I think that single entry and three max lineups can be found by finding a low diversity score of a portfolio of lineups that you deem strong for single entry. And I want to show what I meant by that. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to stratify on weighted ownership. I will have a video on what stratification means, but basically this is just going to find a linear min-max for weighted ownership. I'm going to just run for, 150 lineups, whatever. The important part here is that I'm going to put the sample range up here into the 75th percentile. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I just want lineups that are highly owned. When I'm thinking about how to build for single entry and three max, it's my belief that you should be aiming for higher ownership and only a couple of pivot points. So I'm just going to apply that to the portfolio. And then, so that gives me 114. Actually, I kind of want that a little bit lower. So let's reset that. Let's go with 125. I want about 100 lineups. Yeah, okay, that's perfect. So I have those. And then I'm just going to download the portfolio. And then from here, I'm going to delete all this stuff. And I'm going to save this. I'm going to reference this is 544 and then kill that. Now I'm going to go back in and I'm actually going to reload that portfolio. The reason why I'm doing that is so that it can reset the diversity score and the other metrics. The diversity score is tied to the overall portfolio that you upload at first. So I went back here, I X'd out all of the files, and then I hit clear data. Now I'm going to reload. And this one is going to be names plus IDs. I'm going to reload the one that I just created instead, right? And then I'm going to use the projections and the salaries. So now when I look at this, this is actually just a portfolio filled with all the highest owned lineups based on weighted trimming and weighted stratification. So the next thing that I would do is I would look at this and say, okay, so what do these lineups have? All right, let me analyze what players are here. So this set of lineups has 82% Austin Martin, 64% Sheehan, 48% Vargas, 47% Green, 35% Miguel Rojas, and then we have some Dodgers heavy hitters here. So just based on that, I have an idea of kind of what a single entry lineup should contain on the player level. And I know that I have 35% Dodgers lineups here, 18% Cleveland, 13% White Sox, 11% Boston. So just off the cuff, if I know that, I probably want a lineup that is Dodgers with Sheehan and Green, right? So let's go up here and say, okay, so where is Dodgers with Sheehan and Green? And oh no, I don't have any Sheehan plus Green here, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, look at all the lineups together. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, what are the lineups that have the least variance in my and the least diversity in my entire portfolio? So actually what it turns out being is that in order to get all of the pieces that I just talked about, remember we had Sheehan, we had Rojas, we had Betts, we had Freeman, and we had Austin Martin. In order to get all of the players that come together and are most frequent in this set of lineups, I'm sorting it by diversity, right? I'm sorting it by lowest diversity to highest, so that I can see the lineups that have the most of the players in them that are present in this entire portfolio of lineups. Because remember, all of these lineups are pretty applicable for single entry, right? And for 3 max. If I sort this by highest to lowest here, then we see these are lineups that are the least similar to the lineups in the portfolio. All right, this one has Joe Ryan, Jacob Lopez, Cincinnati stack. It does not have Austin Martin. It does have Vargas, but it does not have, either one of Freeman or Betts, right? So these lineups are different, and you can see just by looking at it, right? Like you can see a lot of variation in these. Whereas if I sort on low diversity, there's not much diversity in these, right? There's not much variation in these lineups. So that's why I say that sorting on diversity makes sense. But I do think, and it's important to lay the groundwork before you do this, because if you just do low diversity on all 3,600 lineups earlier, what you'll end up getting is representation of all of the 3,600 lineups, right? And what we really want is representation of all of the best single entry and 3 max lineups. So do we have green here? No. What if we wanted green, right? Like, what if we said, okay, as I'm looking at this, I went and I analyze the players, and it's like, okay, I see that Hunter Green is here at 47%. Like, I want him instead of having, God, I don't even know who the next pitcher is going to be, Jacob Lopez, who's only in 15%. Okay, that's fine. So if you wanted that, you can just come up here and you can lock green. And then we can look at this and we can say, okay, now show me the lineups that have the least diversity. And interestingly, those end up being Cleveland lineups, right? These now you have Jose Ramirez, Ellie De La Cruz, but you don't end up with too many of those lineups that are Dodgers lineups. The one that you would probably end up with would be here, right? Sheehan, Green, Freeman, Rojas, Vargas, Betts, Austin Martin, right? Like this is probably a great single entry lineup right here. And now granted, you're a little bit bummed because the finish percentile is a little high and the edge is a little low. Like I probably wouldn't do it this way. Maybe I would. But like this would probably be a fine way of going about things as well, is looking at it like this. If you wanted to force Green plus Sheehan, this would be the way that you would do it. And you would get all the players that you would want. Let's go ahead and reset this, right? And let's take a look at those lineups we were getting before. So these, I mean, you still have some negative edge. Whether you are happy or unhappy with that is more of an idea of the kind of player that you are. Like maybe you would look for the one that has positive edge, right? Let's say, okay, we have all of these lineups. Let's go to macro filter. Let's say I only want lineups that have at least a neutral edge. And then let's say sort by diversity, right? And then you end up with this one: Sheehan, Strigano, Freeman, Rojas, Vargas, Betts, Ohtani, and Austin Martin. This one is a positive edge. Finish rate is fine. Ownership is up there, but not terrible, right? Like this one looks pretty good. And then you could even look for, if you wanted to find like this one. Well, this one's really, really weird. I probably wouldn't play this one, but this one looks good. And that's what I mean by sorting by diversity. You could also, now that we have it sorted to where it's only a positive edge, you could also just sort by weighted ownership, right? Like this one is going to have a lot of the weighted ownership that we're looking for. This one is going to have a lot of ownership. It's going to have a pretty good median. It's positive edge. It has Ohtani, Martin, Betts, Vargas, Rojas, Freeman. It just doesn't have either of Hunter Green or Sheehan. And you can see that it's kind of hard to get these two with a Dodgers stack, right? Like you come down here and let's see if we can even have any of those for a Dodger stack. And right now I'm just kind of showing, right, like, what are different ways that you can look through this to make your decisions. So of the lineups that we have here, where we sorted for them to be, specific stacks. So we only have 5 Dodgers lineups that are positive edge, and none of them have Sheehan plus Green. So I probably wouldn't worry that much about getting both Sheehan and Green together, right? Like this is probably the single entry lineup that I would use. It's positive edge. It has Martin, Betts, Otani, Vargas, Rojas, and Freddie Freeman. It's got Emmett Sheehan. It's got at least one of those two, right? And that's what I would probably end up doing for single entry. So I just wanted to kind of break down what I meant by this stuff and why I think that a low diversity score is something worth considering when you're building out your single entry lineups. And hopefully this answers a couple questions as well about how to parse through some things and use Portfolio Manager in a kind of tiered way. Obviously, if you have questions, come reach out in the Discord. I'm going to be doing videos on tutorials and answering questions on it over the next week because it's going to dominate NFL. So be ready to use it, get used to it, get your bearings, and let's just keep stacking up trophies over at Paydirt. I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much, and I will talk to you next time.